Stay tuned for the Splash Live. It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the Greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host for the day, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. Kicking things off, Orchard Lake St. Mary's football team is trudging on ahead through the semifinals. Two local communities came together over the weekend as the Orchard Lake St. Mary's Eaglets took on their Division II semifinal game at West Bloomfield. With our own Kevin McIntosh showing us how this matchup is bringing the West Bloomfield Township closer together.
Here at West Bloomfield High School's football field known as the Swamp, we come here to cheer on the Lakers. But recently, the Eaglets of Orchard Lake St. Mary's Prep actually was here playing their Division II semifinal championship game. I had a moment to speak with some of the members of the Orchard Lake community to see how it feels to cheer on their team here in West Bloomfield.
Actually, it makes me feel great because we grew up in this area and we're from here, so it's even better that we're playing here today, and hopefully we get a win to go to Ford Field.
Oh, it feels great. You know, I'm cheering for all the boys in general. Of course, we want our boys to take the W, but it feels great to be even in this position to be in the Final Four. We're hoping to make it to Ford Field. That's our ultimate goal, but it feels good to be here.
It's always been a priority for local residents of Greater West Bloomfield to stick together. Some parents and students of Orchard Lake St. Mary's share how important it is to support the team.
It's important for the community to be here for the boys. You know, they're young kids doing what they love. Some are potentially chasing their dreams. So it's important for everybody, not even just family, but friends, just to come out here and show their support for kids doing something that's good for themselves.
Man, it's a beautiful feeling, man. It's a beautiful feeling, man. At our school, it's a brotherhood. Everybody supports everybody, from volleyball to skiing to soccer to lacrosse to basketball and everything in between. It's a brother and a sisterhood.
It's definitely a brotherhood. Like, we all support each other in every different sport. So, you know, just coming out for any sport, I'm just happy and excited to see them doing good this season.
With aspirations to play at Ford Field for the Division II championship, Eaglets fans express how the Lions' success may motivate the team and community.
It motivates them because not only do they get to see the people that they look up to on TV, but they're able to enact that in a high school form.
I really think that it really plays an important role because the Lions are doing so good finally after so many years that hopefully it's inspiring these boys and motivating them to get a win.
As our local high schools look to finish their football season strong, it's clear that the Greater West Bloomfield community shows the real strength is in hometown support. At West Bloomfield High School, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
Appreciate the story, Kevin, and they're absolutely right. With the Lions doing so well, it is instilling a lot of positivity with that Orchard Lake St. Mary's team, and they will be playing Byron Center for the title at Ford Field this Friday, which is sure to be a very, very exciting game. Best of luck to Orchard Lake St. Mary's with that game. As you travel this busy holiday weekend, it's important to keep other motorists in mind as more people will be out on the road in the coming days. It's important to watch out for emergency vehicles as there's likely going to be more responses, and Michigan has a very important move over law. slow down and move over for stationary vehicles, especially with emergency lights on, whether that be the police department or the fire department who have their siren lights on. Move over one lane and reduce your speed by at least 10 miles per hour. And this information is all the more important right now, especially today, as this is going to be one of the busiest party nights of the year, and one where many people often make poor decisions about their fitness to drive. We have an important reminder from the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning that we're going to show you right now.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Later, skater.
Hooray, hooray!
If you're impaired and you know it, don't drive.
Be aware of your capability to drive, and if you're not comfortable, make sure you have a designated driver to be available to take you home. So a lot of things to watch out for tonight and this entire holiday weekend as it approaches. Just recently, a local business reached a huge milestone, surpassing 100 years of service right here in West Bloomfield. I spoke to the folks at Height Photo about the family bonds that have helped this business together for a century.
I'm third generation, and my brother's daughter, Julia, is fourth generation, so this business has rapidly changed over the years, and we've been changing with it to try and keep current with all the stuff that's going on. We're really happy to be celebrating 100 years in business today as our celebration of that.
It's great. We just love the local community. It was started in Detroit, so it's always been in this area by one of the local families, and we just love the people who come to us. We love our clients, and it's nice to see them supporting the family so much.
What is it about Height Photo that stands out from other photography places?
You can tell how much the family cares, and everyone who works here, we joke that we're all part of the family, but it's really true that they take us under their wing, and everyone just really cares, and we try our best to preserve your memories and fix up the color, and like a lot of other places, just print the stuff and don't even look at it. We always look at the pictures. If someone's shadowy or if there's a crop wrong or something, we always contact you and try to make it the best it can possibly be.
We've packed the store with scanners and archiving, capture devices for slides and home movies and prints and anything you can dig out of the basement, because everybody has this massive problem with that kind of stuff. It's important to their family. They don't want to lose it. People come in, use our collaboration tables here in the lobby. We help them break it down and figure out what it's going to cost to save their family's heritage, and then you can share it for free to the rest of your family. We love the community as it is already, and it's funny because we've had customers come in today that have been customers for 30, 40 years even, and they are finding things that they didn't even know because we have the behind-the-scenes open tour for today, and they're really enjoying it, and we're really enjoying showing them what we do every day is fun too.
I think it's amazing. I think it's wonderful that there's still this type of thing for people to come to. I've gotten a ton of Christmas ideas here, so it's great. I hope they keep expanding, and I hope people keep taking pictures and having all these wonderful things to share.
How do you hope to see the business continue to grow throughout the next 100 years?
Well, it rapidly changes. Like we go to conventions yearly to find out all the new technology, but man, you almost need a convention like every month by how fast this industry changes with the cameras and the image capturing. But one thing always remains the same, and that's that imagery is important to people. Doesn't matter how we capture it in the future. There'll be another way or a different way. Maybe on eyeglasses in the future. We may not have phones, but people are still going to want to share their memories and their trips and their things with their friends and family, and that will never change, and we'll always be here to help. Luckily, we've got more kids coming down the line, so hopefully there'll be a fifth generation of Height Photo people.
It's always incredible to see a business like this thriving after so long, especially for the friendly people at Height Photo. Big thank you to all of them for allowing me to stop by and to be a part of their celebration. And here's to many, many more years of success for Height Photo. Thanksgiving is tomorrow, which means family time is on the horizon. But that can also mean an increase in stress and tension within some of those family dynamics. Here are some tips on how to manage your mental health this Thanksgiving. We have marriage and family therapist with the Birmingham Maple Clinic, Carrie Krewick, joining us on The Splash. Carrie, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Glad to have you with us and really interested in getting into this topic. What are some of the biggest issues people might be dealing with this Thanksgiving season with their families?
I think in most cases, families are excited to be together and they're well-meaning, but at times questions can be inappropriate, can violate boundaries, can maybe violate privacy. So maybe the intentions are about connecting and getting to know each other, but the unintended result is that someone may feel uncomfortable, put on the spot, or shamed for how their life may be going.
Right, and especially after a big, with the recent election season, whichever side of the political spectrum you may be on, that's sure to bring up a lot of feelings and emotions, especially with members of the family who might have differing opinions. Have you seen an increase in cases like that this season because of that?
Sure, it's definitely been on people's minds. So there's maybe a tension or a nervousness going into a situation. And the reality of the situation is that our families have always spanned belief systems and political spectrums and things like that, but maybe it wasn't in the past always so talked about. And we're always so heated. So now you hear those sort of like harsher, more critical comments. Whereas maybe before we always knew Uncle Joe felt differently about us than one topic and Grandma felt something about something else. But now everyone feels those in a more critical and hostile way towards one another. And so I think one of the reminders for family is to avoid like critical remarks, name calling, things that are just going to naturally make other people defensive or bring up counter arguments. I mean, if you have an interest in talking about political things, you know, some of the advice is don't talk about it. I don't know that that's the best advice, but perhaps if you have some interest, coming to the table with compassion and curiosity, you know, asking your family members or your older family members, how did their belief systems change over their lifetime? What kinds of things informed them? What were their experiences in their life that led them to the path that they did? That you may actually learn something really interesting and even a relief and even a source of a shared common ground that you're not aware of when you look at things in such a binary way. But if you come with curiosity and wonderment, you may learn a lot about your family's history, and that kind of learning actually brings resilience and healing for people too. So it's a good behavior to exercise.
You're absolutely right. And with this Thanksgiving season, we don't need any of that hostility at the dinner table. The biggest argument that should be taking place should be who gets the biggest piece of the pumpkin pie. That's the only argument that needs to be taking place. But why is family stress such an issue for people?
You know, people want to have, fond memories of the holidays. They either remember their historical holidays fonder than they were, of course, with that childlike wonderment. And then, we come into the holidays and we want to make the Pinterest photos and the Instagram photos. And so there's a lot of expectation, there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of excitement, and then this worry also that it could all fall flat. And so I think when you have really high expectations and if those expectations are unmet, there is an experience of devastation or depression as a result. And so I think it feels sort of fragile. We've gotten away from it just being a casual, let's just get together and share a meal. And there's a lot of other influences nowadays that probably didn't exist. But that pressure can also make it feel like it has to go off perfectly without a hitch. And that makes things even more stressful.
That's absolutely right. It's important to just keep those expectations in check and just make sure everything goes smoothly. For those just joining us on The Splash Live, we have marriage and family therapist with the Birmingham Maple Clinic, Carrie Krewick, joining us to talk about navigating some of that stress and negativity that family dynamics might bring this type of year. And it's not just adults who might be dealing with things like this. It could also happen with some of the kids. Maybe if their parents are going through a tough time, maybe a divorce or a separation. Have you seen anything like that from kids?
certainly coming into the holidays, maybe there is a sense of family tension, and or maybe there's sort of a pretending through the holidays, and maybe kids might be reacting to their sense that things aren't exactly as they seem. But as you were talking, I was thinking back to like sort of how should we approach things. Something might be going on with someone that you don't know. And to just, again, ask, instead of asking something bold like, why haven't you had kids yet? Or when are you going to start dating? Don't assume you know the answer to that question just because you can't see it. Perhaps asking people, what are their biggest things they're looking forward to for the upcoming year? What things are exciting them right now in their lives? Do they have any passions or interests they're pursuing? Instead of a targeted question about a very personal topic, maybe more open-ended. Were there anything that got them down this year that they'd like to see corrected in the following year? As opposed to, like asking something really targeted, why aren't you drinking? Are you pregnant? It could be their sobriety path they don't want to talk about. You don't necessarily know what's going on with someone. And if you ask a really pointed question, you may end up violating that person and really making them uncomfortable or feel some sort of shame or anxiety.
That's right. Don't make any rash assumptions with any member of the family. Nobody knows what you're going through, and it's their private business if they want to keep it private. But Carrie, you talked about how this is, obviously we're dealing with these things for Thanksgiving season, but this could also carry over into the Christmas season as the holidays are underway, and this isn't just going to completely stop after Thanksgiving, would you say?
Sure. Pretty much from Thanksgiving through New Year's, no matter what your faith or celebrations are, there's work parties, there's school parties, there's, a number of different religious faiths have, celebrations this time of year. So there is the chance that people will be together in these like sort of intimate situations. So I think that's another thing is if you're a guest and you either have information you don't want to share, or you are feeling on edge about, maybe being put on the spot about one topic or another, or you're on edge about conflicts that might arise between other participants, you can't control everybody else and you can't make rules for everybody else. So you really do the best to take care of yourself. Pay attention to your own timing. If you know a party gets rowdier in the evening and people get looser with what they're talking about in the evening, make your arrangements to come early and leave early and give yourself an out. If there's conflict or tension between you and another person or between other people that makes you uncomfortable, make a plan for, okay, I'm going to take a walk at a certain time, or excuse yourself to a bathroom, or, get an ally ahead of time. And there's someone who kind of knows your situation or knows how you feel, that maybe you have like a safe word and kind of a method of kind of ducking out or getting the space you need, even if it's just a walk around the block or some time to decompress yourself. If you're the host, paying attention to sort of the like table management, if topics are coming up, perhaps have some planned things, maybe some topics to introduce instead, bringing up maybe old photographs or memories and historical things, or, even some kind of a game with, topics you can pick out of a hat. And if you need to, kind of sort of interject something as a distraction or a decompression, maybe invite someone to help you go into the garage and get the Christmas tree lights out of the attic or something, but just enough to sort of upset the flow can sort of disrupt those kind of uncomfortable moments.
All very, very helpful tips, and we do thank you for sharing some of these on our show today. One more question before we let you go. What are some great resources that people can utilize to find some more ways to decompress for the holiday season and for Thanksgiving?
Sure. Well, for one, it's getting a little bit cooler, but we've had a wonderful fall. Outside is probably one of our best resources. Fresh air, walking, movement is certainly, around an eating holiday. Monitoring how much you're drinking and being mindful of that is certainly going to be something that contributes to more anxiety and depression long term if it's not kept in check. Of course, the internet is ripe with resources. If you need something like a suicide hotline, if you're alone on the holidays and you need someone to talk to, there are resources available. And if you're at this time of year realizing that you're experiencing more anxiety, more depression, or more worry about the future, certainly reaching out to a trained therapist. So to get in touch with a therapist at Birmingham Maple Clinic, you can visit www.birminghammaple.com. And there is a list of our therapists who work both in person or virtually. If you're feeling really a sense of despair over the holiday time and you're feeling at all suicidal, certainly calling 911 or taking yourself into an emergency room. It's absolutely important and necessary to take that seriously and get at least a proper evaluation before deciding if you need something like outpatient or other inpatient care.
Great resources, and we thank you for sharing those resources. Carrie Craywick with Birmingham Maple Clinic, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice weekend.
You too. Glad to have this conversation and really interesting to have all of these resources to make sure you keep those emotions in check. If things do get a little too heated at their dinner table, just try to simmer down and just try to keep things focused on family. So once again, we thank Carrie Craywick for her time today on The Splash Live. DECA is working hard to make families' dreams come true. The West Bloomfield DECA program is giving back this holiday season thanks to a wonderful partnership with Humble Design. And here to tell us more about this partnership and their Thanksgiving mission, we have West Bloomfield High School DECA coordinator Julie Zala joining us today. Julie, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Really, really good, and glad to have you with us. And I'm really interested in hearing about DECA's mission this Thanksgiving. Can you tell us about this year's project?
So this year, as one of our projects, we're doing a community service project with DECA. And our students have been collecting money, and they're still doing that for about another week. And we're doing what's called a Day of Joy. And that Day of Joy is going to allow us, we're going to start out at the Humble Design warehouse. And from there, we're going to pack up a bunch of things, everything from bedding to furniture to everything that you can possibly imagine, books and toys and all of that. And we're going to be putting them in our cars with our students, and we're going to be driving them to a home that is a local family that is emerging from homelessness. So they have not been sleeping on beds or anything like that. This will be their opportunity to do so after a long time. And we're going to spend the entire day cleaning the house, setting everything up in the different rooms. Our students and our staff are each going to get a different room to set up to be for whatever age the child might be or the mother. And then at the end of the day, the family is actually going to come back and see their house for the first time with the furniture inside of it.
Wow, that is amazing. That is so really, really cool to hear and really great what you guys are doing. And that's great that you're working with Humble Design to help make this happen. How did this partnership with Humble Design come to be?
Well, amazing is I had an opportunity to meet the owner of Humble Design. There's a Humble Design Detroit and Chicago and San Diego. And she's just this incredible lady named, and just love her. And she started here in Detroit. That was the one most successful. And from there, we got into discussions probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And we have done 2 others. This is our 3rd home that we're going to do for the holidays. Each one has been an incredible experience with our students and our staff, as a matter of fact, saying it's probably one of the best experiences they have. It's really humbling and touching and really makes you feel a part of the community. I can say for myself, I know this has been one of the best opportunities I've had as a teacher in 27 years.
Wow, that's great to hear and really interesting to hear about how things have evolved. And you just touched on this a little bit, but I want to hear how rewarding is this, not only for you, but for the students to be giving back in this way?
It's incredible. I always try and prepare them before they're going to do this by saying this is going to be an emotional experience for you because they don't realize how emotional it is to see the family come in after, living on the floor. And some of them have been in shelters for over a year and not had a home, to walk in for the first time and seeing the kids' reaction to having a bed of their own and a room of their own. And the students really take that. In fact, about 5 years ago when we did our first one, the students, I've seen them since then, and they still have said that it was one of the best experiences that they've had, learning about giving back, and they've done it in other ways since then. And in fact, one of the people from our DECA chapter that's an advisor she has retired and she is now working with them to help do things at their factory. So it's really been full circle.
I like that. It's kind of a bit of a pay it forward sort of thing. And I really like that that's what's starting to come from this project. For those just joining us on The Splash, we have the DECA coordinator with West Bloomfield High School, Julie Zala, as we're talking about their Thanksgiving mission this year, helping out a family in need. And you said that this is the third year that you've been doing something like this. So you've helped out two families in the past. What were their reactions to what you guys did for them?
Well, it was incredible. Usually the family cries, but I think we cry harder when they arrive. But they are so appreciative and so kind. And the reactions from the children are amazing because we'll put like games in there and they haven't had their own game. Probably the thing that they're most excited about is having their own room, but having a bed. And we don't realize how big of a deal it is to have your own bed and not be sleeping on the floor. And for the mother to go in her own room and have her own space where she's not sharing with her children, 5 or 6 of them in one space. It is so rewarding. It just makes you want to keep on doing it. And our students are going to have the opportunity to explain what they've done at a state level for Michigan DECA, and then hopefully at an international level to expand about how incredible this program is in April when we go to the Orlando for the international conference.
Wow. And just hearing about this project, it kind of reminds me of that old show, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, only this is Extreme Makeover DECA Edition. But all of this sounds so great, Julie. And
thank you.
Why is it important for you guys to be giving back in this way, especially around a time like the holidays and Thanksgiving?
I think it's important to realize that this is a local family. And I think that we as a community and as DECA, being a very large organization in West Bloomfield, we want to give back. There has been one of the families was a student of our district. And you never know who the family is before we get to this day. But we were very fortunate to be able to give back to the student. Their faces and things are not shown, so they would not know that in the community. But it's important for the students also to learn at a young age the importance of giving back, and that you never know a family need might be somebody next door to you or sitting next to you in class. And we need to work as a community to keep giving back to each other.
That's great. Great words to say, and a big message for the entire community. And Julie, if people are watching this and wanting to help out themselves, where can people go to learn a little more information or maybe to make some donations of themselves?
Absolutely. HumbleDesignDetroit.com is the website to learn more about Humble Design. And if you actually go to our district page, you can look at our newsletters that come out every week, and there's a QR code to give to our fundraiser. It costs $3,500 to do a day of joy. So every donation is really appreciated. The more we can do for the family, the better it is and the better experience it is for them. One year we were able to do a Christmas tree for the family and put some presents underneath it from all the donations. So every donation counts.
That's absolutely right. Every single donation counts. Julie, I want to thank you so much for your time today. One more question before I let you go. What other projects is DECA going to be working on in the future to be helping the community?
We have another one that's been going on that is Stack the Stigma, where we've been working with the athletes in our community and outside of the community, some of our graduates who have moved on to the NFL and also to be playing in some of the top 10 schools. And we are learning about bullying and bringing the importance of also, besides bullying, about how important is mental health and to kind of have a mental health playbook so that you have something to go back to and look at if you're struggling at any point, something and resources for you. So that's another one. There is another local organization that we're working with out of Schoolcraft, and they work with special needs students to have them learn how. They actually work in a bakery, and we're working with them as well to kind of share with the community what that they do there, and to get them to purchase from them and to visit as well.
Great things. Glad to hear of everything you're working on, and we appreciate everything you do for the community. Julie Zala, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. Have a great holiday.
You too. And this is just one of those stories that really warms your heart, especially around this time of year. But really amazing to hear of all of the great work that DECA is doing this Thanksgiving season. As the Thanksgiving holiday comes and passes this week, families in Greater West Bloomfield may be sprucing up their living room with a very special tree. Our own Kevin McIntosh went out to one of the many places where residents will explore to find what the perfect holiday tree looks like and what the community is looking for this year.
I'm here at a local tree farm in Orchard Lake that brings holiday magic to our community. I inquired with some local residents as to why they choose to come to Orchard Lake and Commerce Road to purchase their holiday trees.
It's a family tradition. We've been doing it in my house ever since I was a little kid. I grew up with a family of 10 kids in the family, and it's something that we did every year. You get the smell, you get to decorate it, and it just kicks off the season.
On the business side, we asked about harvesting Michigan trees and choosing to sell them locally in Orchard Lake.
We're keeping it close. We're right up in Sheboygan. All the trees come down here. We're keeping it local, not to mention it's a little easier and it's a much nicer product for our customers. It's the freshest tree you're going to find.
While choosing and putting up a tree can be a great family tradition, what makes a real Michigan tree better than an artificial tree?
Well, I tell you what, we don't like to use the A word here. So, real trees, you're going to get that fragrance. They're beautiful. It's an amazing tree. You're not going to beat it. You're going to get a different color every year. It's always going to be a different type of tree every year. Artificial, it's going to be the same thing over and over and over again. There's no special thing about it. Not to mention you get to bring your family out here and have a great time. Great family atmosphere. You bring the little kids. We even got little coloring books for them.
Look for needles that will stay. Look for the smell. And so the balsam and the Fraser fir, so there's a mix of those where you get the smell of the balsam and you get the needles that'll stay from the Fraser fir.
It's clear this tree farm is spreading holiday cheer and creating special memories for local families, an Orchard Lake tradition that brings our community together. From Orchard Lake, I'm Kevin McIntosh, Civic Center TV.
Once again, I want to thank Kevin McIntosh for his work out in the field and getting all that footage and quotes from Tribe and Trees. And it's great to see all the options people might have for once they start putting up those Christmas trees right after the season. That is, if they haven't already put them up themselves already, like I have done so. But great things to see all around the community. And with the holidays right around the corner, that means that our roads are going to be busier than ever before, and safety is of the utmost importance this holiday season. Here to tell us more, we have West Bloomfield Police Department's Community Relations Officer, Zena Daly, joining us on The Splash. Zena, good morning.
Good morning, Jake. How are you?
Really, really good, and glad to have you with us to talk about this very important information to get out there as people continue to make their plans for this Thanksgiving season. How busy do you expect things to be in West Bloomfield for the holidays?
Well, as you said, the busiest days are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday after Thanksgiving. And AAA projects that there will be almost 80 million people traveling, and that's not just flying, but also on the roads, at least 50 miles or more from home. So we expect that through West Bloomfield, we'll be getting a ton of people leaving the township, but also coming in.
Wow, it's going to be definitely some new environments for a lot of people, maybe some roads that they're not familiar with. What are some common factors that might pose an issue to people who are traveling out of state or people that are coming into a state like Michigan?
Well, you want to be prepared, right? People are always rushing. As much as you try to plan, you end up running late to get to the airport, especially if that's where you're going. You want to get there on time. So if you can prepare this week before Tuesday, even start on the weekend, start preparing before Tuesday arrives so that you have a checklist. You want to make sure you have all your proper identifications so that when you do get to the airport, there's nothing to worry about. Pack light, make sure that you've secured your home, unplugged anything that needs to be unplugged, put that on your checklist, make sure all your windows are locked. And more importantly, when it comes to traveling out of state or if you're going to be away from home for an extended period of time, a lot of people like to post on social media that where they're going, how long they're going for, when they're returning. And that's just exposing yourself and letting people know that you're not going to be home and your home is open to them to come into, right? So you want to make sure that if you're going to post anything, wait till you come back before you post those pictures or saying, just say, hey, we went out of town instead of we're going out of town in advance. And again, make sure those windows and your doors are all locked, secured. Your gates, if you have like a gated yard or a privacy fence, make sure all those are locked and secure. And if you have security cameras or a Ring camera, make sure all of those are functioning properly as well.
All right, a lot of important information for everyone to take into consideration. Now, Zena, having been a police officer for a while and seeing a lot of things around this holiday season, what are some common things you end up seeing around this time of year?
For people that are coming into the township from out of town, and they're staying with relatives, you're going to see that sometimes if they end up going out, they'll end up coming back late at night and going to the wrong home because they're not familiar with the area. A lot of the houses tend to look the same to them. So make sure that you, as the person hosting, make sure you have their address written in their phone or somewhere and put it in their pocket. If you're a resident of the township, you're going to see a lot more traffic coming in and out of your subdivision. So just be aware, be vigilant. Know that there is a reason for this traffic. It's definitely due to the holidays, but just be aware of, the coming and goings of, in your subdivision, your street, your neighborhood.
All right. Yes, absolutely. Very important things to stay aware of. And how will the rest of the police department be working to maintain road safety this Thanksgiving?
So Thanksgiving Day, you have a couple events, right? You have the Thanksgiving Day parade. So there's a lot of traffic going to and coming back into the township. That starts from 9 to 12. And then you have the football game at 12:30 downtown. So you'll have people coming back home from that. What about between 4 and 5 maybe? You'll have people that are drinking, that plan to drink at these events. If you are one of those people, make sure that you have a designated driver. Use a ride share. We tend to see a lot of traffic and we see a lot of intoxicated drivers. We don't love that on the holidays. We don't love it any day, but especially on the holidays and taking people away from their family when we need to. We don't want to do that. We don't want that for you. So to keep yourself safe, to keep other drivers, people safe, especially if you are driving and if you are intoxicated and you decide that you're going to drive and you're downtown, there's a ton of people down there. So you just want to be safe. You want to make sure that you've already planned ahead as to how you're going to travel. And that comes back to, again, if you're hosting, make sure that you help your family out with a ride share or being their designated driver for them. So these events, and then, you have all the parties on Thanksgiving Day, and we tend to see, we get calls usually in the evening as people have had their dinner, and again, they may be drinking, and before it becomes anything more than just an argument, because it does tend to happen when there's a lot of family together, please make sure you call us. Let us come out there. We can try to diffuse it. Sometimes people just have to leave and go home. We'll make sure they get there safely, but to avoid anything more serious.
Glad to hear of all of these great resources and tips to keep everyone safe this holiday season. Zena, before I let you go, where can people go to gain a little more information about this topic?
You want to go to tsa.gov for your traveling needs because you want to make sure you have everything that you need ahead of time. Be prepared. You don't want to get there and there's things in your bag that you're not supposed to have. And now you're rushing again. We're going to have some things posted on our social media. Go to our Facebook page. By the end of today, we'll have some things on there as well. But other than that, you could just go online and look up some safety tips.
Always great resources right there online. Zena Daly, the Community Relations Officer for the West Bloomfield Police Department, we thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Glad to hear of all of these resources to help keep the community safe this holiday season, as it's important to stay safe on the roads and to get to those Thanksgiving dinners safely and calmly. So once again, we thank Zena for her time on the Splash Live. We're going to take a quick break and jump into some more stories right after this. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm your host for the day, Jake Schaff, going over all of the biggest news and events from right here in Greater West Bloomfield. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, it's also important that we highlight the Rotary Club of West Bloomfield's holiday charity efforts, as they are collaborating with other Rotary Clubs of Troy, Birmingham, Sterling Heights, the Lakes area, and more, and other community partners to deliver fully cooked Thanksgiving meals to families in need. And here to tell us more all about this Team Turkey initiative, we have Rotary Club member Scott Loney and the Executive Director of Educational Equity and Inclusion, Sonia James. Thank you both so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to have you both with us and really interested in hearing about this initiative. Scott, I want to start with you. How has the Team Turkey initiative grown or evolved since its began, and what's been the biggest driver of its success?
Well, first, our turkeys aren't burned like the one in your picture. Team Turkey actually started probably 10 years ago. We were not part of it for the first couple of years. The real motive force was the Troy Rotary Club, with whom we have very close relations. And in 2017 and 18, we started talking to them about our own Thanksgiving sharing effort, which basically was boxes of canned goods, turkey, frozen turkeys and so forth. And frankly, it was well-intentioned, but it wasn't very effective. And it didn't reach very many people. We're showing up several days before Thanksgiving with a frozen turkey and a bunch of canned goods. The families that we were serving, sharing Thanksgiving with, in many cases, weren't able to cook the turkey. I mean, they didn't have an oven, or they didn't have the means or the facility to do that. And so we started talking to Troy Rotary Club in 2017 and signed on to Team Turkey in 2018 because we really liked the model. It's the driver of success is working together. There are 5 Rotary Clubs that have been involved in this, so it's not just us. And one of the things I'm proudest of is that we've actually stepped out of what I call the Rotary bubble, and we've got other organizations working with us: the Royal Oak Youth Assistance, the Troy Fire Department, the West Bloomfield Police Department, West Bloomfield Township itself, and several other community organizations to sort of spread what we do among people basically in northern Oakland County. And we don't look at it as a charity effort. We don't look at it as something we're doing to help unfortunate people. We're sharing Thanksgiving with our neighbors. And the key relationship that we have in West Bloomfield is with the West Bloomfield School District. When we started, we were trying to think of what's the best way to identify qualified families in need of assistance over Thanksgiving. And it just so happened that the guy sitting to my left in the board meeting where we were discussing this was the superintendent of the West Bloomfield School District. And he suggested that we go to the schools and work with school counselors and social workers to identify families that whose children qualify for subsidized, meal programs.
Wow.
If you think about it, that in many cases is the only meal they get that's really nutritionally balanced. We all go home on Thanksgiving and it's 4 days of fun and football and too much food. They go home basically to a food desert. So it's a real need that we are filling with this program.
That's right. And it's great that you are fulfilling that need and fulfilling it for so many families. And Sonia, I want to turn it to you for a second. How do you see Team Turkey impacting families in need, especially with West Bloomfield's diverse community?
I think that, one, I just want to say I appreciate what Team Turkey does for West Bloomfield. The partnership and the collaboration that we have with the Rotary Club, it impacts so many of our families. I think we have over 70 families that will be able to help serve, give hot nutritional Thanksgiving meals to this year. And it is truly a blessing. It is truly a joint venture of love and care. And we talk about our neighbors and we talk about our students and our families. We are West Bloomfield. We are a community of givers. We are a community that wants to make sure that everyone in West Bloomfield has the same opportunity or same experiences as each other. So with this partnership, it just helps fill so many families' bucket and brings joy to the families in our school district. And I just want to say thank you to Scott and Myers and everyone who really works to put this together for our families. We are a diverse population, a diverse school district with varying needs. And to be able to fulfill this for a family and bring joy during the holiday season is really what it's all about.
That's absolutely right. And it's great to see all the work you guys do to help bring that joy to all these families. And Sonia, what lessons from your work in educational equity and inclusion inform your approach to programs like Team Turkey?
Well, as a member of the Rotary Club, I am too a Rotarian. It's going back to those principles and those principles of just that stewardship, that leadership, that partnership with your community. And it goes back to community. And when we think of community, we think of diversity. And we think of diversity, we think about equity and making sure that everyone has equal access and equal opportunity to everything. And it's not just about what we do every day in school. It's creating a well-rounded opportunities for our students and having a well-rounded system of support for everyone, no matter where you are in the hierarchy, no matter what you are, where you are financially, where you are as a district. It's our responsibility or it's our charge to ensure that everyone has equal access. And access to food is huge, especially in this day and age, in this time. And what the Rotary Club is doing, as well as its partners, is it brings about that equity and it helps serves those that may be in need. And right now, I might be in need, and next year I may not. And so, for me, as a recipient of the dinners, that just says I am in a great community. I am in a place where people care. I am in a school district where they're going to make sure that we have everything that we need. From the time we walk through our doors until the time we return to go home and back again, whatever we are in need of, that's what we're trying to provide for our families. And it's through organizations like Rotary Club or the Optimist Club or different organizations that are doing things to help provide for the students and families in our district. And it's all about that. It's about community. And we are one WB strong community. And
Absolutely.
It's everyone working together.
That's great.
You are absolutely right, Sonia. It is all about community. For those just joining us on The Splash, we have Scott Loney and Sonia James with the West Bloomfield Rotary Club talking about the Team Turkey initiative and benefiting people all throughout the community. I got a couple more questions for you before we let you go. Scott,
sure.
What makes this project meaningful to the Rotary Club? I think you touched on this a little bit, but what makes it meaningful to the Rotary Club, and how does it align with the organization's broader mission?
Well, the motto of Rotary clubs internationally, there are thousands of Rotary clubs and over 1 million members around the world, and our watchword is service above self. And if helping to feed your neighbors in a time of need, and just as Sonia said, might be me next year. You never know. I've delivered these turkeys to neighbors on my street, okay? Because I knew what their situation was. So it's service above self, and I think it speaks for itself. If I could sort of riff on some of the things that Sonia said, West Bloomfield School District is a district, schools of choice district. So I just want to make sure it's the West Bloomfield Rotary Club, the West Bloomfield School District that's teaming up on this. We're making deliveries in Pontiac and Waterford. I just found out I'm taking calls today for the delivery list where addresses have changed just in the few weeks since we reached out to families to share the Thanksgiving meal with them to get their phone number and their assent to receive it. One of them has moved to Detroit. We're going to have to change our route to accommodate that. But the point is that we're not just serving West Bloomfield, but to the extent that we do serve West Bloomfield, I know a lot of people think that West Bloomfield is an affluent community. What could people in West Bloomfield possibly need, you know? And what I have found, I mean, this has taught me much by being involved in this. You go to people's homes, they're happy to meet you. It's not like they're like embarrassed by this. We actually have the police. We have the police delivering in their police cruisers. And I thought the first time we did this, oh my gosh, this is going to look great. Thanksgiving morning, the cops pull up, the neighbors are peeking out from the curtains in the front yard. They just love it. The police chief, and he's delivering for us again this year, gets out with a box of turkeys and so forth. And what you find out is that these are people who are aspiring to the American dream. They may not have much. They've moved out of communities where they're trying to get their children out of cycles of poverty, cycles of violence, and everything they've got is going into the rent or mortgage on a West Bloomfield home. So it looks like you're doing this in a very nice neighborhood, and in fact you are. But these are the kind of people we want to support. These are people who aspire to the American dream.
And that's great, everything that you're doing to support these people, Scott. And Sonia, last question before we wrap things up. What opportunities do you see for expanding Team Turkey or other initiatives to address food insecurity throughout the year?
That is a great question. And with regards to Team Turkey, we just keep taking names because I believe that this year we surpassed the list that we gave last year. But we also have within West Bloomfield, and it's Fueling Kids Futures, which was formerly known as Blessings in a Backpack. And that's a food program where students go home with food for the weekend. And Kathy Chico is the spearheaded this years ago, and far beyond her years of service within West Bloomfield, she is still committed to this. And as a part of United We Walk, I'm going to give a plug here. We will be hosting for Fueling Kids Future. We will be collecting food as a part of our United We Walk volunteer work for that day of service. So each of the buildings will be collecting different things, ramen noodles, oatmeal, and students will be able to provide some of those additional things that Fueling Kids Future will need. So that helps support them by us giving back. And on January 15th, which is Dr. Martin Luther King's actual birthday, we're going to do a district-wide donation day. So that we'll be asking every student, every family to just donate for Fueling Kids Future. Again, when I talk about community and when I talk about WB Strong, it is all of us coming together to make it work for every student that walks through our door.
That's right.
Because we get your zip code does not dictate what you receive in West Bloomfield. Once you are a West Bloomfield student, you are ours for life, no matter what your zip code is. It is you being a part of this community. It is you being a part of our district. And it is us making sure that we're doing the very best we can for each and every student in our district.
And I couldn't agree with that more, Sonia. I want to thank you and Scott so much for your time today in talking about this great initiative.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Jake.
All right, really glad to have Scott and Sonia with us on the show today to be talking about the Team Turkey Initiative. They're going to be making a lot of families very, very happy. Crossroads Presbyterian Church is going to be starting up a brand new social program very, very soon on Saturday, December 7th. Here to tell us more, we have Bobby Wolf from Crossroads Presbyterian Church joining us today on The Splash. Bobby, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Really good, and really interested in hearing about this event that's going to be coming up. What can you tell us about it?
Well, our church has hosted special needs young adults for the last 6 years and having a social program for them. The Presbyterian Church has given us a grant to provide services for young adults, for youngsters that are in elementary school and also in middle school. So as a kickoff event to these social events, we are going to have a showing of the movie Elf in Milford at the Milford Cinema. And so that's going to be fun for these young people and their families. And then from there, we're hoping to be able to have some social events in March and also in May so that families can see if this is a program that they would like to support for their children.
Oh, this sounds like so much fun, and you're starting off with one of my favorites. I mean, I love Elf just as much as everyone else. That's going to be so much fun for the kids. And can you tell us some of the benefits of this event and this program?
Yes, we have found with our older young adults that they really enjoy being together outside of school. They enjoy coming. We have, in the past, we've had activities where they do crafts. Sometimes they help with mission events. We just packed shoe boxes for Operation Christmas Child, and they love doing that. A couple times we've had dances, but the older young, I'm going to call them our older young adults, they really enjoy being together outside. And so this is a kind of a continuation of our mission, but offering it to the young adults and to the youngsters in elementary and middle school and their families.
That's great to hear. Really interesting to hear about the benefits of this event. And what if some of the kids told you about their excitement for all of this?
Well, they're excited. Our current group are excited to see the younger kids be invited to these sort of activities. We have about 5 young people that are going to be ushers at the Milford Cinema to welcome these families and to support this new program.
Well, that's great that a lot of people from the community are coming out to help the kids and to help benefit the community with something like this. We are running short on time, Bobby, so I got one more question for you. You talked about how the success of this might open the door for future events like this in the future. Could you tell us more about what could come from this if this first event is successful?
Well, we're planning to have an event in March. We're going to call it a game night. We're inviting the middle school and the youngsters that are in elementary school to our church to play games. It's just a simple night where we have volunteers that will be organizing the little games. We're going to try keeping. We're also going to try a time in May where we're going to be outdoor. Hopefully, in May we'll be outdoors and host activities outdoors, some outdoor games, maybe some ice cream that might be a part of the event as well.
You're already getting me really, really excited for the spring season. That's great stuff to hear. And one more quick question. Where can people go to learn a little bit more information about this event and some future events with the church?
They can go to the Crossroads Presbyterian Church website, which if they just Google that, they can see the website and the activities will be listed there. And they're all for special needs youngsters. So really, we are targeting, in a way, we are targeting the Walled Lake schools, but certainly are open to other youngsters coming as well.
This is going to be so much fun for a lot of kids. Bobby Wolf with Crossroads Presbyterian Church, we thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Really glad to hear about this great event that's going to be coming up to really help bring in the holiday season once Thanksgiving passes. But that's going to do it for us today on The Splash Live. I've been your host, Jake Sheff. Big thank you to Tyler Keept at Master Control and Kevin McIntosh for his work out in the field. Live, local, social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.